I walk into the dining room and the energy hits me like a wall. Everyone is smiling but not at me. My father stands holding a manila folder. My brother Garrett sits to his right, flushed with barely contained excitement. My mother is already crying. Takes me 3 seconds to read the number. $500,000. My chest tightens. A hand rests on Garrett's shoulder. A hand that has never rested on mine like that. Wine glasses fill. Someone says how proud they are. My brother doesn't even look at me. This is an early distribution, my father announces. Garrett has earned this. He's shown responsibility and ambition. I'm standing at the edge of the room, still holding my purse. No one asked me to sit. My mother glances at me once, then looks away. I see something in that glance. Not guilt but strategy. She's measuring whether I'll make a scene. You don't. Watch. Listen. And that's when I notice a clause in the paperwork. A clause that contradicts something my mother promised me 3 months ago. No one explains it. No one even mentions it. And I understand. I'm not supposed to understand. The room erupts. Glasses clink. People stand, move toward Garrett, congratulate him like he won an Olympic medal. My mother walks over, puts her hand on my arm and says loudly, "We're so proud of you for understanding, for being mature about this." She squeezes my arm. People turn and smile at me like I've done something noble. I haven't said a word. My uncle nods approvingly. An aunt I barely talk to puts her arm around me and says, "Not everyone would be this understanding." Understanding what? I still don't know what they're asking me to understand. My father still won't meet my eyes. That's when something cold settles in my stomach. This wasn't a family meeting. This was a performance. My silence is being rewritten as consent. My shock is being reframed as grace. By not correcting them, I'm agreeing to a story I never signed up for. Garrett finally looks at me from across the table. He smiles. It's not grateful, it's victorious. My compliance keeps the family calm. They need me quiet. They need my silence so they can feel like they haven't done anything wrong. I smile back but inside something shifts. I'm already planning how to burn it all down. Text messages flood in before I've even pulled out of the driveway. "You're amazing for being understanding. Your brother is lucky to have a sister like you." That took real maturity. Each message feels like a knife because they're congratulating me for something I didn't agree to. I drive in silence, hands tight on the wheel. My mother's words echo from 6 months ago. We were in her kitchen, just the two of us. She held my hand and said, "When we do the distribution, you'll be first. You've always taken care of everyone. This is our way of taking care of you." I remember believing her. I remember planning what I'd do with that money. I pull over on a quiet street and find the old text thread. There it is. A message from 3 months ago. "You're going to be so proud of what we have planned for you. Trust us." I read those words again. Then I write one sentence in my notes. "They lied on purpose." That sentence changes everything. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a miscommunication. It was planned. They chose to lie to me while they told Garrett the truth. I sit in that car for 40 minutes. I don't cry. Don't scream. I just understand something cold and clear. My family doesn't see me as an equal. They see me as a tool that needs to stay quiet. The next morning, I replay memories like they're evidence. Holidays when my brother got better gifts, but my mother said it didn't matter because you're the responsible one. School events where my achievements were mentioned quickly and forgotten while Garrett's were celebrated for weeks. I pull out my laptop and start writing it all down. It's a pattern. Practiced, deliberate, calculated pattern. This wasn't one betrayal. This was years of betrayals disguised as normal family stuff. Small moments that seemed innocent individually but together tell a story of systematic preference. My brother was always the investment. I was always the support system. I remember cooking an entire Thanksgiving meal at 16 because my mother had a headache. Garrett was upstairs playing video games. My father patted my head and said I was such a helper. I thought it was praise. Now I understand it was assignment. I was being cast as the helper. Every praise I received was for sacrifice. I close my laptop and feel something crystallize inside me. This family has been writing a story about who I am, and I've been silently accepting the script. But scripts can be rewritten. They think they can keep me compliant through lies and gaslighting. They have no idea what's coming. My mother calls 3 days later. Let's have dinner. I want to talk about everything. I agree because I'm already 3 steps ahead of her. We sit at our favorite restaurant. She orders wine. She looks nervous. Then she says the phrase that I now understand is her control word. Be patient. Everything will work out. We're still figuring things out for you. I watch her face. She says it gently like she's doing me a favor. And I understand why she says it so much. It works. Patience is a cage that nobody thinks is a cage. I nod. I watch her visibly relax. Her shoulders drop. She smiles like a weight has been lifted. And that's when I realize something crucial. My compliance keeps the family calm. Not because I'm being kind, but because my silence lets them pretend they're good people. So they've invested years in training me to keep quiet. Not for my benefit, for theirs. On the drive home I make a decision. I won't say another word. I'll keep nodding. I'll keep being patient. But I'll also be watching. I'll be listening. I'll be documenting everything. And when I have enough evidence to shatter their narrative completely, only then will I speak. The game is on. I'm not playing to be liked. I'm playing to win. My brother starts acting different almost immediately. He's bolder, more careless. He posts about new opportunities on social media. He talks about future plans at family dinners with this confidence that makes my skin crawl. At a family gathering, he's telling our cousins about expansion plans. My brother doesn't even have his own business yet. He laughs loudly. Dad basically handed me a 5-year plan. He said if I hit certain marks, there's more coming. More coming. Those words repeat in my head. One of my cousins asks, more like what? And Garrett grins. Let's just say the family takes care of its future leaders. He actually called himself a future leader while talking about money our father is handing him. He slips details he shouldn't know. Numbers, timelines, financial advisors. He knows more about the family's wealth than I do. I smile and listen carefully. I file every word away. I think about how overconfident people always make mistakes. How arrogance is the enemy of caution. How someone who believes they've already won stops being careful. My brother thinks he's won. The money is secure. The future is locked in. And I'm just the quiet sister who accepts her role. He has no idea that every careless word is another piece of evidence. I'm at dinner 2 weeks later when I decide to ask my first real question. It's casual, strategic. I look at my father and say, I'm curious about the timeline. When does the distribution actually transfer to Garrett's account? Table goes quiet. My father answers too fast. In tranches. Over 5 years. As long as he meets certain conditions. 5 years. Conditions. I ask another question, still calm. What kind of conditions? My mother kicks me under the table. But I keep my eyes on my father. He clears his throat. Financial responsibility. Business milestones. Family involvement. That's vague. Strategically vague. Because they haven't actually defined these conditions. They're keeping them flexible. Because they can change them whenever they want. My brother looks uncomfortable for the first time. My mother is giving my father a look that says, shut this down. I understand in that moment that they're not hiding money. They're hiding history. They're hiding decisions. The room tightens around my question like a fist. And I know I've touched something tender. 3 days later, my older cousin Xavier pulls me aside. We're not close. So when he walks up and says quietly, I thought you already knew. I know he's breaking some kind of code. Knew what? Yes. He looks around nervously. About the original plan. About what your parents were going to do with you before they changed their minds. My heart stops. They changed their minds about what? Xavier looks guilty. Your mother asked me to sign something years ago. Confidentiality thing. About a different arrangement. One that involved both of you getting distributions. But then your parents decided to modify the plan. They said something about needing to prioritize. I feel like the floor is moving. So there was a plan for me. Yes. But it got erased. Not erased, rewritten. The family knows about it. That's why everyone congratulated you for being understanding. They're not congratulating you for being generous. They're congratulating you for not knowing you were supposed to get money too. My hands are shaking. Xavier shifts his weight uncomfortably. Because I'm tired of keeping secrets for people who think they're good people while being dishonest. He walks away after that. The truth hangs over my head like a guillotine. The original plan included me. They rewrote the narrative. I start planning the next day. I can't ask directly. That would raise suspicion. But I can ask for something that seems innocent. I call my mother and say, I've been thinking about organizing our family memories. Do you have copies of the old agreements? The ones about trusts. She hesitates for maybe 2 seconds. Then she says, Of course, honey. I'll have your father send you copies. No hesitation. No caution. Because she genuinely believes I'm just being sentimental. Within a week I have everything. Family trust agreements from 15 years ago. Amendments. Addendums. And buried in the documents, I find exactly what I'm looking for. An original distribution plan that lists both Garrett and me. Equal amounts. Equal timeline. It's dated. And signed. It's real. And then there's a second document. Dated 3 years ago. Modifies the plan. Increases Garrett's portion. Delays mine indefinitely. I dig deeper. I find emails between my parents discussing the modification. My mother wrote, I think we should wait and see if she stays close to the family before we commit to the same amount. My father responded, Good thinking. This way we maintain leverage. Leverage. They used the word leverage when talking about their daughter. I sit at my kitchen table with these documents spread out, and I feel something crystallize. This is manipulation. This is using money as a tool to control behavior. I have the evidence. Every single piece of it. Dated, documented, and undeniable. My mother calls on a Tuesday afternoon. Things are progressing nicely with your situation, she says, like my life is a business transaction. I'd say you can expect to hear something concrete by March 15th. March 15th. I write it down and circle it twice. Because if there's one thing I've learned about my family, it's that promises are flexibility. Dates are suggestions. That's wonderful, I say, and I can almost hear her smile. She's satisfied. She's delivered the carrot. She's told me to be patient a little bit longer. And she genuinely believes that will keep me compliant. Your brother doesn't know we're doing this, so please keep it quiet, she adds. We want to surprise you. Course. Because transparency is dangerous. Because if my brother knew his sister was also receiving money, he might feel less special. I mark March 15th on my calendar in red. I start a countdown in my notes. Not because I believe anything will happen on that date, but because I want to see what my family does when they haven't delivered. March 15th arrives on a Tuesday. I wait all day. No call. No email. No message. Just silence. I don't reach out. I don't ask. I wait one more day to see if they'll remember. They don't. On Thursday, I text my mother casually. Looking forward to hearing about that March 15th thing you mentioned. She calls me immediately. Her voice is different. Tighter. Oh honey, the timing shifted a bit. You know how these financial things are. They don't always go according to schedule. But it's definitely coming. Maybe April now. Maybe April. The maybe is the tell. The maybe means she's improvising. The maybe means she never actually had a plan for me. She just had a way to keep me quiet. I don't argue. I don't push. I just say, I understand. Thank you for keeping me updated. I can hear the relief in her exhale. She thinks I've accepted the new timeline. She thinks I'm still compliant. She has no idea that her postponement is evidence. Her broken promise is documentation. Every time she pushes the date forward, she's proving that this arrangement was never real. That night I make a list. Every sacrifice I've made for my family. Every favor that got reframed as obligation. I worked 3 jobs to pay for college while my parents helped my brother through school. I moved back home for 6 months to help my mother through depression. I gave my brother money for his first apartment. I listened to my father's business complaints for hours while he never asked about my day. I covered for Garrett's mistakes. I made myself smaller so he could be bigger. Every single sacrifice was praised as something I was naturally good at. The imbalance becomes mathematically undeniable when I write it down. My brother received support, money, time, and attention. I received praise for not needing any of those things. My family didn't choose to favor Garrett because he was better. They favored him because I was too good at sacrificing. I made it easy for them to take from me. And when I got tired of it, they called it maturity. I stare at this list for hours. And I realize something that makes my whole body go cold. They're not doing this because they're bad people. They're doing this because I've trained them to. I've spent years showing them that I'm fine with being last. But that ends now. We're at brunch on the first Sunday of April when Garrett makes his mistake. He's animated, excited, talking to my father about some investment opportunity. And then he says something that stops me mid-bite. I was reading through those projections you showed me in the latest documents, and I think the growth potential is amazing. 5-year timeline is perfect because by then the second distribution should be processing. Table goes quiet. I watch my father's jaw tighten. My mother sets down her mimosa very carefully. There are documents Garrett has seen that I haven't. There's a second distribution he knows about that I don't. Garrett realizes his mistake immediately. His face flushes. He laughs nervously. Dad, you didn't tell them about the second distribution yet? My father is looking at my mother. My mother is looking at her coffee. Nobody's looking at me. There's a second distribution. Ask quietly. My voice sounds very calm. My brother laughs it off. I mean, probably. I might have misunderstood. But his face says he didn't misunderstood. He's heard something concrete that I haven't. My father clears his throat. We can discuss the details later. But I already know the detail that matters. My brother was given information that I was denied. I smile and finish my eggs. I think about how overconfidence makes people careless. He just handed me exactly what I needed. My parents call the next day, together on speakerphone. My mother does the talking. We wanted to clarify something Garrett mentioned yesterday. We're just calling the transfer to Garrett an early distribution, rather than the full amount because we're being strategic about taxation. An early distribution. That word changes everything. An early distribution implies there will be a later one. It implies I'm still on the list somewhere. But it also implies control. Because distributions can be delayed, modified, or denied. I see, I say. And I do. I see that they've decided their story. I see that they're going to pretend this was the plan all along. I see that they're trying to wrap all the contradictions into one narrative that sounds reasonable. My father speaks for the first time. We wanted to be careful about how much we revealed publicly. Publicly. As though the family is the public and I'm someone they're managing the image for. I understand, I say. I understand that my parents have decided that my brother needs support and I don't. I understand that they're going to structure this in phases so they maintain control. I spread out the documents on my kitchen table. The original agreement. The amendments. The emails. The financial statements. I line them up chronologically and start mapping the contradictions. Original plan from 15 years ago. Equal distribution to both children. Clear timeline. Dated, signed, witnessed. First Amendment 3 years ago. Increases Garrett's portion. Delays mine. Parent email 2 years ago. We maintain leverage. The dinner party story. This is an early distribution. The phone call reframing. Strategic taxation. There are 2 versions of the same decision. One that was made with intention and documentation. and one that's being invented as they go, adjusted with every conversation, redesigned with every lie. They can't both be true, and everyone in the family knows it. I create a separate folder on my computer. I label it evidence. Put everything in there. Every document, every email, every text message, every promise that was made and broken, every timeline that shifted, every contradiction. And I don't feel angry anymore. Feel clear. I stop replying in the family group chat. Just completely stop. No emojis. No responses. No acknowledgement. Takes 3 days for them to notice. By day 4, the messages shift from casual to anxious. My mother sends a separate text. Are you okay? My father adds a message. Hope you're doing well. The silence is exposing something I've always suspected. They don't actually want me to be happy. They want me to be responsive. They don't value my peace. They value my compliance. The moment I stop performing the role they've written for me, they panic. By day 7, my father calls. Is everything okay? You've been quiet. I'm fine, I say. Just processing some things. Processing what? The fear in his voice is audible. Family stuff, I say vaguely. The power has shifted. Not because I've done anything dramatic, but because I've done nothing at all. I can survive without their narrative. I can be okay even when they're uncomfortable. My mother asks to speak alone. We meet at the coffee shop where we used to have dates. She orders a tea. Her hands are shaking slightly. I need to explain something, she says. About why we changed the plan with Garrett. Wait. I don't help her. We were trying to keep the peace, she says finally. Your brother has always been more difficult. More insecure. We thought if we gave him something concrete, it would help him settle. And we thought you would understand. Because you always do. You thought I'd understand being lied to? Ask quietly. We didn't lie to you. We changed our minds. That's different. You made a promise 3 months before you decided to change it. You didn't tell me. You pretended it was never made. That's a lie. She flinches. We were trying to do what was best for everyone. No. You were trying to do what was easiest. And my silence made it easier. So you kept lying. She reaches across to take my hand. I don't move it away, but I don't hold it either. I'm sorry, she whispers. And that's when I understand. An apology without understanding isn't an apology. It's an escape hatch. Garrett throws a dinner to celebrate his new business venture. He's renting a private room at an expensive restaurant. He's invited the entire family. And he's acting like his success is already guaranteed. I'm planning the next 5 years, he announces. Dad's helping me think through the strategy. By the time the second distribution comes through, I'll be in a position to expand to 3 locations. He's not even nervous anymore. He's confident. He's the golden child, and golden children don't worry about consequences. I watch my parents beam at him. I watch them congratulate him on dreams he hasn't achieved yet, on money he doesn't have yet. He looks at me across the table and raises his glass. To family, he says. And he smiles like he's won. I raise my glass too. Smile back. And inside I'm thinking about how certain he is. How he has absolutely no idea what's coming. I'm going through old files at my parents' house when I find a folder labeled with my name. Inside are documents I've never seen before. And at the very bottom, a signed statement. It's dated 4 years ago. It's been witnessed by a lawyer. And it contains language that directly contradicts everything my parents have told me. The statement says, "We commit to equal distribution of inherited assets to both children, signed of our own free will, without coercion, and witnessed by counsel." Signed by both my parents. It's undeniable. And it's been sitting in a folder in my parents' house the entire time they've been telling me a different story. I don't take the folder. Take a photo. I photograph every single page. Front and back. I make sure the dates are visible. I make sure the signatures are clear. This document doesn't just prove they lied. It proves they knew they were lying. They kept this signed witness statement as a reminder of what they promised. And they chose to break that promise anyway. This is the sledgehammer that will shatter everything. I stop posting on social media. I become quietly withdrawn at family events. Not angry, not accusatory, just present but distant. And it creates a vacuum that makes everyone uncomfortable. Relatives start asking questions. An aunt mentions to my mother that I seem sad. Cousin asks if everything is okay with my job. The narrative is cracking. People can sense that something doesn't add up. My father texts me. We should talk soon. My mother calls. I feel like we've drifted. Can we do lunch? Garrett, for the first time, shows a crack of insecurity. He asks if I've said anything about being upset. Nobody knows what they did wrong. But they all know something is wrong. The silence is making them panic. It's making them question their own narrative. It's making them desperate to repair something they don't even understand is broken. Call a family meeting. My voice is calm and polite. I say, I think we should all sit down and talk through some family stuff. I'd like to clear up some misunderstandings. They agree immediately, because they think I'm going to apologize. They think I'm finally ready to accept the narrative and move forward. I organize all my evidence. Strategically, I create a timeline that shows every contradiction. I highlight every broken promise. I annotate every piece of evidence with dates and source information. I make it impossible to deny or dismiss. This isn't an argument. This is a case. I don't sleep, but it's not because I'm anxious. I'm sleeping soundly because I've done all the work. I've collected all the evidence. I've organized all the facts. I've thought through every possible response they might make. I lay in bed and go through the timeline one more time in my head. Every date, every decision, every lie. And I feel something I haven't felt in months. Peace. Not because I'm about to hurt my family, but because I'm about to tell the truth. And I'm done carrying the weight of their lies. For years I've been quiet so they could feel comfortable. I've been compliant so they could feel righteous. I've accepted their narrative so they could maintain their self-image. But tomorrow I stop being small. Tomorrow I tell the truth. We're all sitting around the dining room table. I place the documents on the table. Chronologically. Only. No emotion in my voice. I wanted to show you something, I say. I wanted to show you what I found when I was helping organize files. I point to the first document. This is from 4 years ago. It says equal distribution to both children. I look at my mother. You signed this. You promised this. I point to the second document. This is from 3 years ago. It increases Garrett's portion and delays mine indefinitely. I place the email on the table. And this is where you discuss maintaining leverage over your daughter by controlling her access to money. The room is completely silent. Garrett's face has gone pale. My father is staring at the documents like they're weapons. My mother is reaching for her wine glass with a shaking hand. I'm telling you this because I deserve to know the truth about my own life. I continue. I deserve to know it from you, not from documents. I look at Garrett directly. You weren't the favorite because you're better. You were the investment because I made it too easy for them to take from me. My father's voice is quiet when he finally speaks. But I cut him off. It's exactly about that. It's about lying to me. It's about making promises you didn't intend to keep. It's about using money as a way to control behavior. My father tries to defend himself. He says the timeline was complicated. He says the decisions were difficult. I let him talk. And then I ask a simple question. If this was what was best, why did you hide it? He doesn't have an answer. 'Cause there is no answer that makes this okay. My mother starts crying, but I don't comfort her. This isn't about the money, I say. If you had been honest with me from the start, I would have handled it differently. I might have been hurt, but I would have respected you. What I can't respect is being lied to and then manipulated into staying quiet about it. Garrett finally finds his voice. I didn't know about any of this. I didn't ask for I know, I say. But you benefited from it. And you acted like it was your due instead of like it was a gift. My brother flinches. Because that's true. He's been so confident, so entitled, so certain of his specialness that he never questioned where it came from. My father looks at my mother. My mother looks away. And in the silence, something shifts. The narrative they've been maintaining for years finally breaks. They realize, all at once, that they can't put it back together. We don't yell. No one storms out. We just sit there in the reality of what's been said. I leave without a resolution. There's no happy ending where they promise to change everything. There's just the truth, finally standing in the room where I've been standing all along. As I drive home, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Feel my own dignity. Not because I demanded it, but because I finally stopped accepting their version of who I am. I was the quiet one, the understanding one, the one who didn't need things. But that was never the truth. That was just the story they told about me. Now I know better. My silence was a choice I was making on their behalf, not on mine. And I don't have to make that choice anymore. The money doesn't matter. The promises don't matter. What matters is that I'm no longer going to organize my life around making my family comfortable. I'm no longer going to be patient. I'm no longer going to understand. I'm no longer going to accept a smaller version of the truth so someone else can feel better about a lie. I reclaim myself. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But completely. And I finally stand exactly where I've always been. Clear-eyed, unshaken, and unwilling to be silent again.